Today we're going to talk about ATP synthesis. Last time we stopped at a point where we mentioned something which is called the macroergic compounds. Macroergic compounds, which are also called phosphogens. Phosphogens. So these macroergic compounds or phosphogens are used in order to synthesize ADP, and they have a higher energy release, so a higher delta G than 7.3 kilocalories per mole, which is the one for ATP. So their delta G is higher than that of ATP. But before talking about examples of such macroergic compounds, we have to mention something about ADP synthesis. So ADP synthesis has two types. The first one is called substrate level phosphorylation. Substrate level phosphorylation. And the second one is called oxidative phosphorylation. From the terminology, it's pretty obvious that this one needs the presence of oxygen. The other one doesn't need the presence of oxygen, and from this we can conclude that this one happens in aerobic respiration, and the other one is in the steps of the respiratory cycle. So it happens in glycolysis, it happens in Krebs cycle, and so on. So the examples that we're going to talk about today are from glycolysis and Krebs cycle. Matter of fact, 2 from glycolysis and 1 from Krebs cycle, while the oxidative phosphorylation occurs on the level of the mitochondria in order to produce the ATPs. So this one we're going to talk about it next time, and today we're going to talk about substrate level phosphorylation. So we'll begin with our first example from glycolysis. So our first example is a compound which is called 1,3-diphosphoglycerate. Diphosphoglycerate, or for short 1,3-DPG. And the compound looks like that. So we have carbon number 1, 2, 3. We have 2 phosphoric acid groups on carbons 1 and 3. 1 and 3 diphospho, because 2 phosphorus acid groups, and we have this compound which is called glycerate. 1,3-diphosphoglycerate. What happens is that we have an enzyme, which is a kinase. The kinase would remove a phosphoric acid group from the first carbon. This is what the kinase do. It removes the phosphoric acid group. We have ADP, an ADP molecule. It doesn't have 3 phosphoric acid groups, it has just 2. And what happens is that the removed phosphoric acid group will be added to this ADP. It will be transformed into ATP, and we have our ADP synthesis and yet energy release, so energy. And the compound would look like that. So a hydrogen will be added instead of the removed phosphoric acid group, and the rest of the compound will remain the same, like this.